because when I went to bed, I had the weirdest dream. Do you mind if I tell you about it?
A little bit.
Good night, I'm back. So, in this dream, I was in a prison. And I knew I was in a prison because the dream started with this really big establishing shot of a prison. It looked like Alcatraz. It was a big mountainous rock in the middle of the ocean. And it had huge high walls. And the name of the prison was carved into the walls in letters 20 feet high. There was an F and a dot, and an E and a dot, and an A and a dot, and an R and a dot. And I don't know what it stood for. Federal something, I guess, I don't know. But while I was having a dream, I had a real strong emotional reaction. It was kind of like a nightmare. I was having a lot of, well, I was scared. And so I woke up in the prison to the sound of my cell door clanging open right then in the morning. And I got up and I went out to the balcony and I looked down in the courtyard. And there were hundreds of inmates in matching orange jumpsuits, all doing the same choreography. It was very strange. And leading them all was Robert Abrams.
No!
Now, Robert Abrams loves the tango. And he had them all doing the tango to Michael Jackson's Thriller. It was very disturbing. I did not enjoy watching zombies tango together. It was something I didn't want to watch forever. So I went back to my bunk and I lay down and I looked next to me at the wall and my favorite poster of Rita Hayworth there on the and I looked at it and suddenly the face started to glow with a kind of heavenly light, and it changed as the light seemed to come through the wall, and Rita Hayworth's face turned into Marina Aris's face. And she was speaking to me in the dream, and she said, "You've got to get out. You've got to escape. It's up to you. You have to make a choice. You've got to get busy speaking or get busy dying." And I said, this was a sign in my dream. So I said, okay. And I thought, all right, I'm going to escape from this prison called F.E.A.R. And I said, well, I can't make a move in this prison without talking to the toughest gang in this prison. So I said, all right, I've got to go see the Bone Gang. So I went down to the rec room, and there they were. While everyone else was shooting hoops, lifting weights, the Bone Gang, sitting on a picnic table. Penelope Bone, in an orange jumpsuit, sleeves ripped off, huge guns, tattoos all over him, DTM, District Governor. Letters tattooed on every finger. On one hand it said competent communicator. On the other hand it said competent leader. I guess she had more fingers in the dream, I don't know. Anyway, on her right side was Cam Gardo looking extremely buff. And on her left side a tall, imposing Bill Greenbaum, one of our former presidents. And I thought, all right, this is my moment. So I went up and I said, look, Penelope, I want to escape from this prison called F.E.A.R. And I need your help, I need your permission. She said, in her best prison accent, it's going to cost you. So I handed her a carton of cigarettes and a set of DVDs of Darren LaCroix's World Champion Speaking. And she said, fine, but you're going to have to get organized. You're going to have a lot of meetings. Pick a day when everybody can meet, like Tuesday around lunch. And you're going to have to form a team. And I said, okay, all right. And the first place you got to go is the talent agency in prison. I said, okay. So I went down the hall to the prison talent agency, and I opened the door, and there sitting behind the desk in a beautiful earth-tone camel's hair kind of prisoner's jumpsuit was Andy Lewis. I said to him, how can I get out of this prison? I need to form a team. And he said, well, you've got to get the right person for the right job. First off, tunnelers, you're going to need tunnelers. And he slapped down 5 headshots on the desk, and they were all there. There was Ken Volandis and Brian Robinson, Rob Spinelli and Jeremy Courage and Hugh Norton Smith. They were all in 3/4 shots with their shirts off. Oiled up. Looking very muscular. It was a weird dream. Anyway, so he said these guys look like great tunnelers, and also Jeremy and Hugh are great cultural officers for anybody that you meet. They're tall and charming, and one of them has a strange accent. They'll make friends with anybody. I said, that's great, that's great. So then he said, the next thing you need to do is research. You need research on how to get out of this prison. So I said, all right, the prison library. So I headed off to the prison library. I opened the door there, and there were 2 giant caterpillars munching on books. One had the face of Gail Woods, the other had the face of Jacqueline Schwartz. And they were munching on books slowly. And I said, have you got any ideas for me on how to get out of this prison? And they immediately came up with 5 titles, and they said, but they're way back in the stacks. Miles of stacks in this dream. And I said, no problem. Kimberly Guerrero showed up in a running suit, went out there. She had all 5 books, just like that. And he said, we're a team. We call ourselves Schmoogle. It's like Schwartz and Google or something. I don't know. It was very fast. And so I read those books, and I realized the first thing I needed was to win over the prisoners of the prison. So PR, that's what I needed. So I went to the PR firm there in the room. Our PR masters, Garland Good and Ashlyn Carroll and Judith Erdman, they were there, and they said, wait a minute, tell us more? Okay. I think we can come up with a couple of ideas to sell the concept of escape to prisoners. This is good. I said, great. And then they said, IT, you got to head over to the IT department and start talking to them. I went in there, there was Ian Eisenberg and Dale Blagrove and Michael Grinberg and who else was there? Marina Romashko, she was there with a cute little headset and the keyboard typing away. They were all helping, and they came up, and Ian started a website called digdeep.com. They all started twittering all the prisoners, and everybody was on board, and I thought, this is great. And then I thought, what else do we need? And I thought, finance. We've got to fund this dig. So I went to the finance department. There, Marshall Barron, Deborah Falcone, Michael Lee. Who else was there? Nate Rabinovich, of course. And all these people were there, and they said, wait a minute, you need money for this? Hold on. And they came up with a bond. They floated in prison and started selling it there. They created a derivative of that. And Christine Chandra was there. She went online and she cornered the commodities market in Guyanese sweet potatoes and made a killing. All of a sudden we had plenty of money. We were there. We had it. So I was so excited. And I thought, a map. How are we going to get out of here without a map? So I went to the prison travel agency. And business was slow that day because most of the prisoners weren't traveling much. But Jill Caparimo was there behind the desk. And she said, wait a minute, it's not an escape unless you leave your parents behind, you fly somewhere, and you're away from the prison for a minimum of 4 nights.
Yeah.
Sure. And then, of course, Andy had told me the one last stop I had to make was to the wisest person in the prison.